Perry was central to planning of Trump's effort to overthrow election. Former White House aide U.S. Representative Scott Perry has a lot of information to share about former President Donald Trump's plan to overturn the 2020 presidential election, said a former White House aide during a radio interview on Wednesday. Cassidy Hutchinson, an aide to former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, appeared on WITF's The Spark Show to discuss her new book, Enough. In June 2022, Hutchinson testified before the House Select Committee investigating the January 6, 2021, attack on the U.S. Capitol. As part of her detailed testimony, she said Perry and several other Republican House members sought pardons from Trump, which Perry has denied. I stand by what I testified to publicly, and I would implore him to go testify under oath if he has anything to dispute, Hutchinson told WITF host Scott LaMar. Time equals 400 Ms. greater than. There were several members of Congress who were interested in pardons, and Scott Perry was one of them, she said. Perry, a York County Republican, ignored a subpoena from the House Select Committee seeking his testimony. Jay Ostrich, Perry's spokesman, responded to Hutchinson's comment by telling PennLive on Thursday that Perry is focused on reversing the damage done to our families and job creators by President Biden's failed administration and fighting for the people of South Central Pennsylvania, not the tall tales of a former staffer out hawking a book. Hutchinson told WITF that it is also important for Central Pennsylvanians to know that Scott Perry was central to the planning of January 6 and central to the planning of operating the Justice Department officials to execute a plan that Donald Trump wanted, and what Donald Trump wanted was to essentially shred the Constitution in any way that he could to stay in power, and Scott Perry has a lot of information about that, and I think that Scott Perry owes it not only to Central Pennsylvanians but to Americans, to share what he knows. She said that her story is a cautionary tale, and she called January 6 the greatest threat to our democracy in modern American history. While Hutchinson was included in planning session to overturn the election, she said she did not expect the January 6 attack, describing it to LaMar as almost like a bad car accident that you're watching happen and you want to be able to stop it, but you can't. Earlier this week, Blake Lynch, a former senior executive at WITF, announced that he was entering the Democratic primary to try and challenge Perry in the 10th congressional district next year. Lynch is the 7th Democrat to get into the race.